All right, my name is Dion. I own Imperial Diesel Service, Largo, Florida. We do general engines, all makes, all models, but specializing in the Cummins engines. Here we're going to put together a kit for KTA19, 19M. Yeah, there's M1, 2, and 3. This is an M, so 500 horsepower at 1600. It's powering a tugboat. Engine experienced the liner seal failure, was mixing coolant and oil. Everything else pressure checked, so unfortunately this engine's getting a rebuild due to that. Very short time frame, so we're kind of hurrying up through it. I think it had 26 or 27,000 hours when it finally cooked the liner seal. First, here we have our oil control ring. It's marked top. Diesel Pro does a pretty good job with them. And you got to set the ring gap. See, there's a gap here. It goes on the bottom land. So pay attention, this gap is going to go here. Top of the ring, it's going to go 180 degrees from the gap in the, I forgot the technical term for this. I think they call it an expander ring, because it pushes the oil scraper against cylinder wall. Or something like that. School was a long time ago. I majored in big girls and beer. Okay. Next we have our second compression ring. It's going to be this one that has the chamfer in it. What this does, any exhaust or any compression that gets past the top ring goes on the back side of the ring and pushes it out towards the wall. So they do a pretty good job. It's marked top. It's got a Cummins part number and it says second. It's really hard to mess it up. Pay attention to the gap. Ring gap is going to go. Cummins wants 120, 120, 120. You just, I mean, you can get it like here, here, somewhere here. You just don't want it in line with the pin for whatever reason. I don't know. School was a long time ago. This is your top compression ring. Notice the shape of it. Same deal. Compression goes on the back of it, pushes it against the cylinder wall. It's also marked top, and it says first. So, Simon's, my Blue's Clues tell me that it is the top ring. And I'll just flip our piston over. Make sure everything stays somewhat clean, because how clean you are dictates how long the engine lives. I like to put one retainer in first. And this part isn't really critical, but we still do it. Just put your gap facing the same direction. So the pin will hit that. Now, lubricate 105, assembly lube. We'll just put a little bit. Now, bring our connecting rod. We'll give it a final, not with that rag, with this rag. A final wipe. These are going to get cleaned before they go in the engine. Right now we're just, like I said, we're kind of, I don't want to say rushing through, because you can't rush perfection or something like that. But we're going through this. We're going to do a final cleaning in the engine room of the boat when we go ahead and put these together. Now, I marked them, but there's a thing, the manufacturer tag always goes towards the back of the engine. I marked them F2, like this is front number 2. Piston has an arrow facing the front. We'll put a little lubricate in rod bushing. Customer declined. You can get reman rods because you need a special plane to press these bushings in. Customer declined that because they're on a time frame and money. But you got to pick two: cheap, fast, or reliable. Third is not included. So now we'll put our retainer in. Same deal, we'll get the gap towards the, I guess it's going to be the cam side of the engine. Sometimes they can be a bear with these cheap cheap snap ring pliers. Still isn't good enough. Make sure it's seated. That's good. Now, lube. We already cleaned our liner. Just wipe it, get all the whatever shipping grit out of there. And the same thing with our piston. We'll just put a little bit of oil to eliminate contact. Now, do our final check to clock our rings. We know we have the gap for the oil ring back here. We'll put the first compression at 120 from there, or 180 from there. And then our top compression ring will be over here, like this. Now we're good to use our super chintzy ring compressor. Try not to get it on a gap. Sometimes it can be a real bear, Colby. There it is. There it is. And now, it doesn't really matter which position you put it in the liner because as long as it goes in the right way, you know? We'll poke the piston through a little bit just to locate us. It's located. All right, there we go. It's definitely much easier to use this on the engine and install your pistons on the engine, but as you'll see, it's kind of a nasty engine room, and this is the lesser of two evils. You just kind of go through it on the bench here. And then we have and that liner's good. Now we'll put it in a bag. We'll put liner seals on after. Like right before assembly, I like to soak them in Murphy's oil soap because they don't expand like the crevice seal. The crevice seal is real popular on the old 855 engines. They would expand if you soak them in engine oil. So Murphy's oil soap, we'll put the shim in, and then put a little bit of sealant right behind the shim. Put your crevice ring, and then two O-rings go here. Murphy's oil soap, and put the whole pack in the engine. This is the 48-hour rebuild, you know? It's important to match your numbers up. And there's a code on the other side. Just match them up so we don't there's an A on the bottom, so they all face the same direction. This one's good to go. Our arrow with the front lubricate. Now, we have to clock our rings. Oil rings on upside down. See that? No good. Gotta be real careful with these because they're like glass. Oil rings. Okay, let me clock them. Make sure not to line up our gaps with the pin. I don't know why, but Cummins says don't do that, so we don't do that. Do you know? guys see that? That thing's gonna fight us the whole fucking way, bro. to Imperial Diesel Service. My name is Dion.
I'm Matt.
Today we are installing the liner O-rings and the counterbore shim on a KTA19M cylinder kit. Matt right now is putting a 3000 shim to bring our liner protrusion to 3000s above the deck. We're using Murphy's oil soap to lubricate the counterbore shim packing. Make sure you have to install these with the white mark facing out. Matt's going to lube the crevice seal now. If you look at the profile of the crevice seal, it has a chamfer. The chamfer faces towards the bottom of the liner to aid installation so you don't damage it as you install it. These O-ring colors do mean something. The middle O-ring is, or middle D-ring is black, and the one that faces towards the crankcase is red. You can start that one. The reason we're building them here in the shop is this is a much more controlled environment, rather than try to do this with some level of care in the engineering book.